Once again, session of Hoodies the podcast. Test 1, 2. This is Hoodies. Let's do it, man. Live from the Skill Suite. Yo, coming at you, man. Yeah. Are we back? 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 Word. Peace. I'm the God Rashidi, and I want to thank you for pulling up to another dope episode of Hoodies the podcast. Yeah. Word. It's good to be back, man. It's good to be back. Word. It's good to be back. Real quick though, before we get into this thing, I want to take a moment here and acknowledge. I want to take a moment to acknowledge life, right? Particularly the life of what's his name? I want to make sure I get it right, man. My bad. Sorry. Damon Wilson. I don't know if it's Demond or Damon Wilson, right? Also known from Sanford and Son as Lamont Sanford. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure he's had other roles since then, but the one that I most remember him from, of course, just like all of us, is Lamont Sanford from Sanford and Son. Rest in peace, good brother. Man, still love that show. Still do whenever I catch it. You know what I mean? And listen, rest in peace to anybody else whose name came across our timeline, and you know, it wasn't someone who's popular enough to where we know them, so we kind of just scrolled away from it. You know what I'm saying? And then the ones that we just simply didn't see, man. I'm sorry for everyone's loss, and because of that, I would like to, like I said, acknowledge life and just have a moment of silence for the late great Damon Wilson, Lamont Sanford, and for anybody else who's lost a loved one. All the names that's come across our social media feed, folks saying that, hey, my dad passed away from this and that, and my mom, my aunt, you know, my granddad, and just for life, period. Let's just take a moment of silence. Ashe, and so it shall be. Word. Yeah, man. So real quick, before we get done with this intro, hey, shout out to Seattle Seahawks fans. Shout out to New England Patriot fans going to the Super Bowl. I don't even know who I'm rocking with. I'm probably gonna rock with maybe New England. You know, I used to rock with them anyway. Then that whole Colin Kaepernick thing happened. I stopped rocking with football, period. And then when I did get back into it, I decided to rock with my home team, the Chicago Bears, who, by the way, should have a pretty decent season next season. Caleb Williams has made me a believer. You know what I'm saying? Even in that game where we got eliminated, what a way to come back, man. You know what I'm saying? You got a fan in me, dead ass. You got a fan. And also shout out to the Boston Celtics who just beat the brakes off the Milwaukee Bucks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. I sure hope Tay comes back. You know what I mean? I think if his doctors clear him and the team doctors clear him, then he should go ahead and let him come back. You know, maybe have him come off the bench, starting off, minute restrictions, something like that. I'm of the belief that if Jason Tatum comes back this season, and of course, you know, he's on his square. And not saying that the Boston Celtics can win the chip. I'm not gonna say that's a championship, but it does, however, bring the Celtics back up to being a championship caliber team. I am of the belief that will pop off if Jason Tatum came back and he was you know what I mean, fit and ready to go, and everything was everything. That's how I feel about it. Dead ass. Right now, I ain't trying to do no sports section. I'll just say that I think most of the NBA is just sitting around waiting for Giannis Antetokounmpo to, you know, trying to see what happens with him before they make moves. You know what I mean? Because the whole trade season has been pretty dry. Anyway, man, thank y'all once again for being here, for pulling up to another dope episode of Hoodies the Podcast. I ain't gonna take up your time too much longer. Yeah, man, let's go ahead and do this. All right, let's do it. Yeah. This podcast is turning more into like a visual journal, or like a log, if you will, captain's log. So tonight's no different. I got a couple things me want to say in my fake Caribbean accent. And I ain't gonna be here too long. So check it. Where do I start? Where do I start? Check it, man. I see a lot of, I'm trying to set it up right. I probably should have practiced that a little bit more before I turned on the record button. So I'll just say this. There are a whole bunch of sayings in the world, just like I said a couple episodes back, don't cut off your nose to spite your face. What good is a jewel that ain't still precious? How you do one thing's how you do everything. There's one I heard recently called Watch Pot Don't Boil, which is very, very interesting, which is for the most part about, being patient or just, just being in the moment, because the more and more you stare at the pot, the longer it takes to boil, if you can catch the meaning. And then there's another saying that I heard some years back, but it always stuck with me. Right? And the person who said it, I don't necessarily know if they were Jamaican, but definitely Caribbean. And the quote is, badmandontlosehimcool. Right? And which is for the most part saying that, a real bad man, I guess you can say a real man. You can pretty much break it down whichever works for you. You can say a real street nigga. You can say a real man or a real whatever doesn't lose them cool. Doesn't lose their cool in situations. You understand what I'm saying? And that's something that always stuck with me. And from that moment forward, not losing my cool and staying composed in certain situations has kind of like been one of my life goals, right? Because I think back, of all the times I did lose my cool and how losing my cool was expensive. It cost me some things. Man, crashing out will cost you, as I've said before. So check it, man. Hold on. That cool, refreshing drink. So check it. All right. I'm 19. Right? I'm 19. And I'm riding a bus. Yep, I'm riding a bus. Now, let me add just a little bit of context to it. I don't want to get too deep because there's some sensitive stuff there. So, I'm living in Maryland. I was living with my pop. Some things transpired. He lost the house. Well, we lost the house. We are now staying with a woman who became his third wife. So I'm on the bus from work, no doubt, to this place, right? So I'm on the bus, and my money's a little funny, because I think I just quit one job and then started to go harder into another job. Anyway, long bus rides. So, but anyway, I'm on the bus, and I start thinking to myself, okay, I'm looking out the window because it's coming back to me. So I'm looking out the window, just riding, got my headphones on. I always had a Walkman on me. For as long as I can remember, I had a Walkman on me. Anyway, I start to think to myself, whoa, wait a minute. What happened to my bike? What the fuck happened to my bike? What did happen to my bike? See, at the house that we lost, I had a bike. It was a 10-speed. And I guess through all the moving, I don't want to reveal too much, but at the time, well, not at the time I was on the bus, but there was a time before that when my old man was locked up. So it was up to me to move a lot of the stuff, sell some of the furniture, whatever, so we can get out of this house. And I guess with everything going on, just my bike slipped my mind. You think it would have been my mode of transportation getting around, but these was long bus rides. And then winter hit and all that. But anyway, so I forgot all about the bike. In fact, I don't even remember even seeing the bike so that I could make the decision to sell it or keep it. So now, fast forward back to the bus. I'm on the bus and I'm thinking to myself, yo, what happened to my bike? What the fuck happened to my bike? So I finally get to my bus stop. I get off the bus. I walk inside the crib, inside this building. It was on 355 in Gaithersburg, Maryland. So I'm in my room. Well, a room that was, a room that I could sleep in. I'm not going to say it's my room. I was just staying there. I didn't live there, if that makes any sense. I was just there because, we lost the house. So I'm in there, and my pop's out of jail. And so I ask him, hey, what happened to my bike? And I think he said he sold it. Which explains why I didn't see it. So I never had the opportunity to make the decision whether to either sell it like some of the furniture or keep it. He sold it. I was not happy about that. I was kind of pissed off about that. And I expressed that. And so, it went left because when I asked him about it, well, he said he sold it, and then when I let him know, like, hey, why you just gonna sell my bike, man? That was mine. It wasn't for you to sell. And what triggered me was, you ain't even know it. Yeah, I sold it. You ain't even know it. Hey, man. I don't know what for whatever reasons that sent me over the top. I really didn't appreciate it. I was 19. Yep, I remember I was 19. I really didn't appreciate that shit. This nigga sold my fucking bike. So we had some words. Of course, I made some statements like, how could you sell my bike? I helped you get out of jail. All that silly shit. So he said something to me that pushed me even further in my young 19-year-old mind. And he's something, you ain't had nothing to do with me getting out of jail, right? I promise I'm gonna get to the point, y'all. So of course that bugged me out because his wife at the time didn't have a car. Notice she have a license. I didn't have a car either. I was, of course I didn't. I was riding the bus and pretty pissed off about my bike, right? So I asked my manager at my job. I was working at because I worked at this place called the name used to change. It used to change. 1 minute it was called Roy Rogers. Then the next minute I think it was called HOODIES, something like that. The name just kept changing. I guess it kept getting new owners or something like that. I'm not necessarily sure. Didn't necessarily care. But anyway, the manager, cool cat. As a matter of fact, myself and this brother named Steve, and the manager's name was Donald. Jamaican cat, no less. And we hung out a few times. We hung out pretty tough. So I asked him, would you be up for, giving us a ride to go get my pop out of jail? And it took some doing, but he did. He didn't have to do that, but he did. So I felt like I was playing my part. You know, and I guess he was saying you ain't had nothing to do with me getting out of jail because I didn't have no money to put up, and I didn't. Not no money like that. You know what I mean? So I felt like I was playing my part. So to say you had nothing to do with me getting out, that struck a chord. That struck a chord. You know. And then I sold your bike and you ain't even know it. You ain't even know it. Had some words, whoop-de-whoop. I know definitely that's because you stupid. And he kind of looked, and I've told the story before, I think. He looked at me like, what'd you say? I said, you stupid. And then that's when it got physical. And rightfully so. And mind you, before I get into the fight, tension had already been kind of brewing. I think I was just hitting that point the way it was just time for me to kind of leave the nest. You know? Yeah, and I'll leave that at that. But anyway, so he grabbed me, I want to say by the throat. Somehow I broke free. You know what I mean? And then, you know, once I broke free, dude, I think I gave me the 2 or 3 piece. You know, dude. And he returned fire. He threw a piece or 2. And we kind of went at it for a minute there. And this is happening in the room. And I looked out into the hallway. There's his wife at the time with a skillet in her hand. You know, saying something like, y'all stop it, y'all cut this out, or something to that effect. And so eventually we get tired. And yeah, in fact, I know I've told this story before. And I'm also 100% sure that that's when I was told to grab my shit and get the fuck out. I did. I left. And so I had probably about I probably had maybe $10 to my name. $10 to my name. So somehow, I can't remember if I called for one or if I flagged one down, or somehow I got a taxi and I got this plastic bag with whatever I can grab. So plastic bag of clothes, because of course I didn't grab everything, right? So fast forward to the taxi. I'm in the taxi, and so all I got is, I think all I had was $10. So I tell the taxi driver, it was a brother. He was not American. I remember the accent. He wasn't Jamaican either. I want to say he was from the continent or whatever. So I told him, hey, listen, all I got is $10. Listen, this is where I'm going. I gave him the address. So just take me as far as $10 will take me. This isn't Ubers. This is a taxi, and they got the meter. And of course, the further you go, so the price raises. Y'all know, if you've ever taken a taxi, you know this. I'm talking like taxis are prehistoric. You know what I mean? Almost, but not quite. Take me as far as $10 will take me. He took me just a little bit further, but not all the way. Where he dropped me off was a couple blocks from where I was going. And man, it was crazy, because I remember sitting in the back of that taxi, this Mariah Carey joint came on, and it was that Hero record. There's a hero. Just something. Y'all know the record. And then the hero comes along with the strength to carry on. Then the nudge you feel inside. Or something to that effect, but it was a beautiful record. And oh man, the timing was perfect. The timing was perfect. To hear that in the back of the car, it was just, even though, I'll get to the point, it was time for me to go. You know what I'm saying? It was just time for me to go. So now, wrapping it all up, in hindsight, of course, I did not, in fact, keep my cool. You know what I mean? And listen, that fight needed to happen. Like I said, I did not keep my cool. You know what I'm saying? See, a lot of us young men, you know, we think crashing out and fisticuffs, sometimes it's warranted. Sometimes some people just need to be slapped the fuck in the mouth. Right? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's needed, and you'll know when it's needed. But there's nothing wrong with walking away. There's nothing wrong with being the bigger man. And that's a lesson that took a hot little minute for me to learn. You know what I'm saying? Because, see, where that taxi driver dropped me off at was going to my two oldest sons' mother's place. That would, oh goodness, that would come with a whole nother challenge. You know what I mean? So I didn't necessarily, I was going to say, that's a lesson that took a very long time for me to grasp. Because years later, couple kids in, I'm in the Navy, I'm in the military, and now I'm thinking now on the ship. All my scraps was with Caucasian dudes, and one of them. Listen, losing my cool. It caught up with me. I just say that. It caught up with me and smacked the white boy in the mouth. You know what I'm saying? Granted, he had it coming, but I lost my cool. I ended up getting busted down in rank for that. I ended up getting busted down in rank for that. So the first time I lost my cool, I ended up losing a place to live at my pop's crib. See, if I was going to leave and it was time for me to go, then I could have played that a whole lot better. You see what I'm saying? It cost me a place to lay my head. In the military, it cost me my rank. But luckily for me, they really just they stripped me of the insignia. Forget which armor be on now. It's been so long. But they didn't take me down in rank. They actually was trying to teach me a lesson. I ended up getting reinstated, but that's not the point. The point is my attitude, my hothead, it cost me something, or could have cost me something. You know what I mean? In fact, I didn't even necessarily learn the lesson, you know what I'm saying, of keeping my cool. I didn't even learn that lesson until I became an entrepreneur. In fact, a lot of things changed for me when I became an entrepreneur. So I guess I'm talking to, you know what I'm saying, and I would like say this is for the youngins, but this is for everybody. Because there's some dudes my age still crashing out, still losing their cool. You know what I mean? Listen, the less, especially as people, but especially as men, the less we allow people to push our buttons and trigger us, the cooler you are, right? There's really nothing masculine about losing control. It's really nothing strong or cool about losing control. Losing control don't make you a bad man. It don't. It makes you a weak man. It makes you easily controlled. And if I'm being honest, that's a lesson that I didn't learn until I became an entrepreneur. I'm not necessarily sure what it was or is about entrepreneurship that helped me to learn about keeping my cool. There's been some close calls. Listen, there has to be a balance. Sometimes you smack the shit out of somebody. Sometimes you pull a bat out on somebody. That's not necessarily because you lost your cool. Sometimes violence is warranted, believe it or not. Sometimes it's warranted. He who relies solely on warlike measures will be exterminated, and he who relies solely on peaceful measures shall perish. So, too much rah-rah, get your ass murdered. Too much peace, you'll perish because people will walk all over your ass. You understand what I'm saying? There has to be a balance. And that's something that a lot of us men, my age bracket, maybe a little older, are still learning. Badmandontlosehimcool. Dead ass. Couple other things I want to go ahead before I get up out of here. This ain't gonna be long. Told y'all this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Calm is power. That's what a real power is. You know what I'm saying? And look, see, it sounds so simple, right? But trying to stay calm and cool, see, a lot of times that's difficult to do when you're being triggered by people who know things about you. In fact, those are the worst ones. When people get the bumping them gums and doing shit, like the people who know you. They know they know where that soft white underbelly. They know about the soft white underbelly. So hold on. See, a badman things is control over emotion. Control over emotion is control over the situation. You know what I'm saying? And I've said this before too, that's a lot of times how women learn to trust us, man. You know what I'm saying? When you can keep you cool when she's losing hers, you know what I'm saying? That's how they learn to trust you. Because damn, I'm not moving the needle one way or another with his temperament. That's a nigga I can trust. Versus somebody who's quick to fly off the fucking handle. Can't trust that. It's too volatile. I can't trust you. Fuck around and get us all killed. You fuck around and get us all. We'll fuck around and lose some shit because of your attitude. You know what I'm saying? Long story short, without reading all this, if somebody can make you lose your cool, they control you. I don't like being controlled. That's why I became an entrepreneur. I don't like people telling me what the fuck to do. I don't like people trying to fucking control me. I want to be in control. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know what it is about entrepreneurship that's helped me to realize that. Perhaps it's, perhaps it's changed a lot, like I said. See, when you're an entrepreneur, it's up to you to make shit pop off. Nobody's going to come and market your business. Nobody's going to come and market your products. Nobody's going to come and market you. It's all on you. That whole concept has changed everything when it's come to religion, mentorship, you name it. Listen, life, period. It's changed my outlook on life, period. Nobody's coming to save you. I want to say that that's what it is. And if I'm going to save me, if I'm the one, if I'm my savior, if it's up to me to save me, if I'm who I've been waiting for, then that means badmandontlosehimcool. Listen, if like me, you were quick to kind of fly off the handle, quick to prove that you ain't no punk, like I was at one point in time, inner work, man. Just do the work. I ain't say it was gonna be easy. I guess you'd have to go within and figure out what the triggers are. Make peace with them shits. Maybe, hey, who knows? Maybe you won't be so easily triggered. If you confront them, maybe you won't be so easily triggered. And be patient with yourself too. Be patient with yourself. You don't get it over. It doesn't happen, overnight. Because I'm telling you, the people who know you are the ones who will trip you up the most. People know what, when people know what your quirks and qualms are, it's difficult. It takes a lot of, you got to sit with yourself, meditate. I am in control of my emotions. I am in control of my actions. You know what I'm saying? Another thing that I heard before entrepreneurship became full circle when I became one. I realized I was a shitty employee after I became an entrepreneur. You know, the manager at Tomorrow's Image, my man Artie. If I ever see that man, I'm gonna give him an apology. I wasn't easy to work with. You know what I'm saying? I had this alpha mentality. Can't none of you niggas cut better than me. And I'm gonna show it. You niggas ain't on my level. And when it came to that, I had an arrogant attitude. I've always been cool, but I felt like since I was the better barber that I should have been the manager. Stupid as shit. One has nothing to do with the other one. You know? Entrepreneurship is... my perspective changed a lot. A hell of a lot. So, yeah, man. So, that's what I did. I did some inner work. I'm not necessarily a finished product now. I'm still a work in progress. But do some inner work and be patient with yourself. You know? You will lose your cool even after you tried not to. Just reset, keep doing the work, and you'll get it. Word. That's all I gotta say about that, man. Word. Word. So let me know, man. Let me know what losing your cool has cost you as a man, or anybody, a woman, anybody. What has losing your cool cost you? You know, what has keeping your composure? What has it brought you? Let's have some grown up conversation here. Let's tap into this shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. Before I get out of here, anybody who's got a born day today. Anybody who's got a born day today, happy born day. I salute you. You know what I'm saying? New life, more life. You know what I'm saying? You're the only one with that blueprint. You know, do your thing. Live it up. Man, it's February 1st. A lot of us call it Black History Month. I say Black History Month is every month. You know what I'm saying? But I understand. Yeah, man. So happy February. Yeah, man. And that's about all I got. Anybody who's going through a thing, listen, man, there's a lot going on in this world right now. A lot going on. There's a lot going on. And a lot of people stressed out. Listen, and even before we walk outside our doors and see what's going on with our government, with our city government, even before we walk out the door, there's a lot of us that's got things going on inside our home, which is where I think everything should start. Anyway, in the home. There's a lot of people who are enduring things inside their own home. There's a lot of people who are enduring things inside their own head. So I take that back. Here's where it should start. Then in your home, you know what I mean? And you work your way out. But anyway, shout out to everybody who's affected by those things. Shout out to everybody who's going through a thing and they still showing up every day. You know? Shout out to everybody, man. You know, see the likes of Brother Martin, Brother Malcolm, Brother Chairman Fred Hampton. You know, a lot of these men, well, Fred Hampton was already on that. He already saw that the system was fucking all of us, which is why he went, which is why, of course, he had the Black Panther Party. And then he talked to the Young Lords, which was the Puerto Rican version, if you will. Then there was a white revolutionary group. And he managed to get all these groups together because we were all being screwed by the same entity. You know, and then Brother Malcolm, after his pilgrimage, he began to see things different, especially among the races. He was still black first, make no mistake about that, but his heart had softened in some areas. And he, like Brother Martin, he then began to understand what Martin meant, I'm of the belief, because he's, in so many words, started to say things like, in so many words that I'm no longer rocking with my own kind because of their skin color, but the content of their character. In so many words, he didn't say it like that. You understand what I'm saying? Because the older we get, we come to realize that, man, Everybody's got an agenda. You know what I mean? Some of your own kind will do you in. I'll always be black first, right? But character goes a whole long way, man. And my life goal, is to just be the coolest badman ever, right? Right? And to be universal man, to provide aid to anybody who needs it, mentorship to any youth who needs it. We're all being screwed by the same entity. It's that social shit that gets us all wound up and fucked up. And because think about this: if the racists start getting along, that's a problem for the status quo. You know what I mean? But until that day, yeah, man. Until that day, just keep doing your thing. We just gotta keep doing our thing. Word. And I'm just babbling at this point. So anyway, man. Anyway, like I said, thank you for showing up, even when you're going through a thing. I want to thank y'all for watching Hoodies the podcast. I want to thank you for your likes. You know what I mean? It's mostly the shorts, like I've been saying. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll take it any way I can get it. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate these moments where I get to come in here, sit down, and just talk my shit. You know? And y'all stay up, man. I hope your year's going well. Happy February. Happy Black History Month, even though it's every month. Deadass. And yeah, man, I'm the God Rashidi. This is Hoodies. Peace. Hey. This is Hoodies.